On the agenda tonight, we're going back to 1969. We're going to be taking a look at the Monkees, and they're going to be performing 9 Times Blue. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So this one coming from 1969, it means that it's just going to be a trio because Peter left the band, Peter Tork, in very late 1968. This is coming from the Johnny Cash show as well. I have isolated the vocals, run them through the pitch monitoring software as always. So we'll watch it the whole way through because it is a short performance, and then we'll get into the analysis after. Let's get into it.
Off our new album. I got an idea. How about singing the song we plan to do?
Oh, what an idea. There's a certain something in the way you looked at me and said you'd stay that let me know that I was out of line. But I didn't know what else to do, and like a fool I tested you by demanding things of you which weren't mine. And now I feel like such a fool for making you crawl back to me. But you did it with such love that you're standing far above me and all I did to you. I'm sorry now, what can I do? I know that never in the world could I have found me such a girl who's there to pick me up before I fall. And if in the end we should go both our separate ways, I know the lesson I've learned here is worth it all. 'Cause now I feel like such a fool for making you crawl back to me. But you did it with such love that you're standing far above me and all I did to you. I'm sorry now, what can I do? I know that never in the world did I have found me such a girl who's there to pick me up before I fall. And if in the end we should go both our separate ways, I know the lesson I learned here is worth it all.
And there we have it. So I do already have a video or two on the Monkees, and I mean, it's ironic the way that the Monkees were put together for a TV show. And I did mention in one of my first videos about the auditioning process and the fact that it was just going to be a fictional band. And this is back in the 60s, where I always say that musicians, artists back in the 60s, technology didn't exist. In order to make your voice more accurate and all that kind of stuff, you needed to be able to do it, and to do it in the studio, but especially to do it live. And the reason that I say it's ironic is because these guys are supposed to be a fictional band, so they're not supposed to be able to do anything. It's supposed to be pretend. I mean, going back through the pitch monitoring software, the intervals, Michael can sing. And yeah, having said that, you know, not only can Michael sing, but we've got harmony vocals going on here as well. We've got 3 voices here harmonizing with each other. Again, this is all supposed to be pretend, really. But we've got not only singing ability on show here, we've also got instrumental ability, because the way that Michael's playing the guitar is not a beginner playing the guitar, because we've got fills happening all over the place. And even when we start up, you can tell straight away that, oh, hang on, this guy knows how to play. And the way that he then starts singing, obviously singing, playing at the same time, I say doubles the difficulty. So this is a genuinely good performance. You know, it's it stands up. And when I say that it stands up, I mean that in a way of comparing it with other musicians, other live performances by bands. You know, it is authentic and it is credible. And I think that might be, you know, some of the reason that Johnny Cash got on with them so well. Is because I'm sure that within the industry, they would have just been seen as maybe a bit of a joke because it was fiction and all that kind of stuff. What was supposed to be fictional, everyone didn't really give them the time of day. But then, yeah, I'm sure that people like Johnny would think, well, hang on, this isn't just basic stuff going on and then, you know, pretending, getting other singers in to pretend that they can do it live and then miming to play guitar. They're actually doing this. So, and especially with Johnny playing, you know, G shapes and C's, alternating bass lines, fills, he'll know exactly what's going on with the guitar here. So just to show what is going on here to you guys, if you don't play guitar, then I've got the acoustic out. We'll see what we can see. The other thing is the way that they start this performance, I think is great, because Mickey says, oh, why don't we do the song that we've been practicing, you know, rehearsing? It's good because it's light-hearted, and they're obviously, you know, kind of taking the Mickey out of themselves, and of course they're going to do something that they've practiced and they've rehearsed, but it's light-hearted, but it's still good. This is the thing that even back in the 60s, to fake, you still had to be able to do it. I mean, this is what's so stupid, is that in order to pretend to be musicians back in the 60s, you had to actually be musicians. You had to be decent musicians. So yeah, it's crazy how, yeah, nowadays with the amount of stuff that we've looked at that has been edited and manipulated and corrected and auto-tuned, yeah, even if you wanted to pretend to be a band, you couldn't really pretend. You had to be able to do it on some kind of level for to be at all believable, because yeah, people will be able to spot straight away if you just got your hand like that and you're pretending to play the guitar. You know, they'll spot straight away that you're not playing. Anyway, let's get into this, see what's going on. So straight away we started on the G, and we've got this little run that comes in, G over to the D. And by the way, this isn't just hitting chords, even though at some points it may be a little bit more simplified because of the vocal over the top. But having said that, Michael still adds in fills when he's singing. And just quickly to explain, the fill is filling in the gap between the strums of the chords. So when we have the G, fill, then into the D. So just filling in that space. Kind of like that. Let's listen on. And then we had a little rundown. I'm just going to take that back to get the whole phrase. Okay, so we have another run. So, I mean, it is fill-tastic so far, because we have this. And we might have a little run down. Don't know whether he puts in that or just uses that low E string into the E minor to get that kind of sound. And again there. I think it just goes to a standard C there rather than the A9. Yeah, and over to the D, and that might have been, might have thrown in that fill again. Let's listen. Oh, it's kind of, I don't know whether he tried to throw in the fill and just missed out a note, but that's what we hear there. Oh, and there's little, again, little pull off on that high E string, the kind of sus4, and then jumping over to the C add 9. So, I mean, hopefully you guys can appreciate, just with me quickly listening to it and pointing out what's going on, the amount that's in here. So we've got some cool playing going on here.
There's a certain something in the way you looked at me and said you'd stay that let me know that.
And that, again, that the way that Michael is picking with this right hand for this first part, he's keeping it a little bit simplified, but then he does a little run there over to the C, picking out the strings in a way that is exact. So going, and actually there's upstrokes in there. So it means that you're coming from a place where if you didn't know what you were doing, you're coming from a place where you would miss the string because it's such a small target to hit. Going, you're doing an upstroke there, down into the C. So that kind of control, even though if you don't play guitar it's going to be hard to kind of appreciate this, but the amount of control you need to let this right hand go but still be able to throw in that and then kind of get your root note on the C as well. Yeah, there's a hell of a lot of playing that goes into being able to play this accurately.
I was out of line, but I didn't know what else to do, and like a fool I tested you by demanding things of you which weren't mine. And now I feel like such a fool for making you crawl back to me. But you did it with such love that you're standing far.
And here, when we go into was that it? Now we've got this alternating bass line.
Such love that you're standing far above me, and all I did to you, I'm sorry now, what can I do? I know that.
And again, I mean, we've got some chord shapes in here that aren't basic shapes. Even here, it sounds like we go up to kind of and barring across this ninth chord shape. And again, it's not something, I think it's E places G like this, but it's not something that you learn when you first start to learn the guitar. You're not going to be jumping into that kind of thing. You know, the G shape, yeah, maybe, but you don't really get into ninth shapes on your first lesson. And I mean, just to draw your attention as well on the screen to the accuracy of the vocal that's happening throughout this performance. So, I mean, it's great from a playing perspective, but also from a vocal perspective. And just when we're talking about the playing, the other thing that you've got to take into consideration is that Michael's guitar is so important, because if he messed up a chord, if he played this incorrectly, there's not really anywhere to hide, because it's just three guys and one guitar. So if he's trying to kind of, you know, if he does something wrong, it's like, oh, it's gonna, I mean, you might be able to get away with that because it sounds a little bit jazzy, but if the chords just even buzzed too much, and you know, if kind of doing a fill, for example, instead of that, if you went and kind of got a muted string, or getting kind of fret buzz when you don't want it, there's so much that will fly under the radar of how good the playing is, just how solid the playing is, and the fact that it needs to be this solid to pull off this performance at all.
Never in the world did I have found me such a girl who's there to pick me up before I fall. And if in the end we should go both our separate ways, I know the lesson I've learned here is worth it all.
I mean, the biggest compliment that you can probably give to this performance is that you don't really even think about the guitar because it is so solid. It's just always there. It's so reliable. Yeah, a hell of a lot of practice has been done on the guitar. And I'm not saying just for this performance. I'm saying just in Michael's life. You know, he's done a lot of practice on the guitar. He's played for a long time because, yeah, this isn't the kind of thing that you play when you can't play the guitar and you're just trying to get away with it. There's way too much in here from a technical perspective to, you know, have to fake, you know. And even saying that, if he just had to play chords, he would just be playing the chords, trying to get away with it. But he's not getting away with it here. He's doing something that, like I said, is musically credible. It's technically good.
Far above me and all I did to you, I'm sorry now, what can I do? I know that never in the world.
And I think even there, that he's even going from the D to the A, so he's alternating that bass line, and that's something that I've pointed out a lot, especially during country music analysis videos where you have that running bass line the whole time. And of course, that's something that Johnny Cash would have certainly appreciated, all of that kind of thing of going from one string to another string just on the guitar, because yeah, they haven't got a bassist here doing that for them. So yeah, a lot going on here. Yeah, really impressive here from the Monkees, and thank you guys for requesting this particular video for me to take a look at. As always, keep the suggestions and requests coming in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!